it's not a workaround. It's not like with a social media platform that says, I'm using your data in order to make money with advertising. For us, it's, I actually need your data in order to provide the primary service.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about a topic that has been talked about for years, which is privacy versus convenience. Harald, it's a big topic in telematics, of course, since we do collect a lot of data.
Yes, absolutely. And let me break this down. So what do we mean with privacy versus convenience? So we're used to using platforms like social media, for example, in exchange for our data. So our life becomes more convenient. We use messenger platforms, we use social media platforms, we use video platforms, and partially for no cost. And there's this saying, if you don't pay for a product, you are the product.
Yes.
Privacy has become a topic over the last decades, I would like to say.
I agree.
Especially as we're moving more and more into the digital world. And especially also now that we are seeing war on the brackets in artificial intelligence. So the US being in the lead, seemingly, in China coming up with DeepSeek. And we're talking about where does this data come from? How are these models trained? And so it's understandable that people are concerned about their personal data.
Of course.
And let me do one statement, and the statement is, we are working with insurance companies in the European Union. So we are under the GDPR, under General Data Protection Regulation. So obviously, we respect all the laws.
Of course.
So this episode would be over.
No, you need to give us a bit more.
So, but it's not only about the legal framework, because even if you're legally in conformity with all regulations, if people don't trust you or people don't understand why you're doing what you're doing, and there is no benefit for them to give their data, they're not going to do it. So in telematics, as you said, we are collecting a lot of data. And this data is also personalized data, because even though there might be a separation between personal data like name, address, phone number, email address, etc., and the telematics data, still also geolocations are classified as personalized data. So it's really important. And obviously we use locations, we use user locations and locations of their smartphone to understand driving behavior, or to give them feedback to potential risks in their area, or to give them, let's say, upsell them to interesting products and services like travel insurance at the airport. So yes, we do collect a lot of data.
So this kind of data is the type of data which I guess could make users hesitate to actually share their privacy. How can you build trust around this privacy and that the data is safe with us?
So first of all, we see people share the data extensively on social media platforms. So you're putting, I don't know, naked photos on Facebook.
But it's important to note that they're not really aware of what is done with this data. And since we are very transparent in our line of work, I think sharing and giving more insights into how really it's all regulated and is kept private is very important.
Yes. So let's break it down. So what the both of us are discussing about what other people think, these are hypotheses and opinions.
Of course.
And you're discussing from your point of view, and I'm discussing from my point of view. So I'm not an expert in psychology when it comes to social media and why people share things. I am, though, I guess, an expert in telematics. And therefore, I know what we do. I know how we do it, why we do it, how we do it, and why we care a lot about privacy. So what we see in social media is that people simply share content because it's convenient for them to do so. So this is the convenience part of it. So I share my photos on, I don't know, or my videos, I share them on TikTok, I share them on Instagram, I share them on Facebook or on other platforms because I want to let the people I'm connected with know what I'm doing for whatever reason. I'm understanding that my behavior on these platforms is monetized by the providers of these platforms. So Google, Meta, and whoever is making money because they can play personalized ads to me. So this is the trade-off here. In telematics, the point is we need your users' data. We need the data of a person in order to help them. If somebody has an accident, we need to know where they are. If we want to score driver behavior, we need to understand how they move and where they move. So this is a necessity for us in order to provide our service. So this is
help me help you.
Yes, let me help you. Actually, I need this in order to provide my service. It's in the essence. If it's not a workaround. It's not like with a social media platform that says, I'm using your data in order to make money with advertising. For us, it's I actually need your data in order to provide the primary service. But as I said, it's not only about fulfilling the regulations, but it's very much of the perception of the user.
Yeah.
And it's actually the duty of the insurance company to make people understand what happens with their data and who actually has their data and who owns data. Yeah. This is very important because in reality there is no ownership of data. So you own your own data, I own my own data. Nobody else can own my personal data. They can use it because I give them permission to, but they are not the owners. Okay? So if I'm the user of a telematics app, I allow in my settings, in my insurance contract, in my app settings, in my terms of use and privacy statements, etc. I accept all these documents and I allow the insurance company or the telematics provider and or the to use my data. So what we try to do is we try to separate your personal data, which is your name, your address, from your telematics data. So there is no necessity for an insurance company to know where you are. So we are not sharing this information with an insurance company.
They don't have my location.
They don't have your location in the first place. They can request your location if they are providing a service that is correlated with your location, like sending first responders. Then they will use your location. But in reality, what they need is a score, which is our duty.
Yes.
For us, it's important to score a driver. So to score a driver, we don't need to know their name. We don't need to know their gender. We don't need to know their age. Because as we discussed in the previous episode, there are 3 buckets of risk. There is the car per se, the horsepower, the color, the make, model, year, and all the stuff. There is the person, the age, the zip code, and so forth. So the data insurance companies also already have. Some countries also credit history, etc. And then there is the third part, which is the telematics data, which can work in combination, but it's not necessary that we know the demographics of the person because we work independently and in addition to the other 2 baskets of risk. So what we do is we anonymize your data in a way. And let me share how this works. So there are insurance companies who say, dear user, we're going to have your data because we're showing you your locations in an app because we are providing first respondents services when you have an accident, etc. So we use your data. And customers normally say, yes, that's fine. But there are also insurance companies that say, well, I want to make the user aware that I don't have their data. I don't have any location. I have no information. And people will ask, well, how is it then possible that we provide a score to this person? So let me explain how this works. So let's say you subscribe with an app. You subscribe with me as a telematics service. You subscribe directly without an interim, without the insurance company. I can actually communicate with you without knowing who you are. Because I can build a secret key that is our communication. Let me do an example. You will register with me using your email address. So now you will say, well, but my email address is a personal data.
There's my name.
But I will not transfer this email address to me, but I will leave it in the app, and I will transfer it and form it into a so-called hash.
Okay.
A hash is a mathematical process that anonymizes information. And it's not reverse engineerable. Let me give you an example. Let's say your email is not Yasmin@Dolphin, but your email address is 12345. Okay, so instead of sending me 12345, let me do a very, let's say, easy hash. I will simply sum up these numbers. Okay, I will say 1 + 2 is 3, + 3 is 6, + 4 is 10, + 5 is 15. So I hope I made this right.
Yeah.
So I will transfer 15. Okay, so 15 comes with me. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 will always be 15, right? But it's impossible to reverse engineer that the origin of 15 was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? It's not reverse
Makes sense,
engineerable because it could have been 5, 5, 5,
yeah.
or it could be
10, 5.
Well, then it will be 1, 0, 5. So that's
Okay.
yes, but you got the concept.
Yes.
And in modern hashes, it's even more secure because it's done multiple times. So instead of sending me 15, we also take 1 + 5 is 6. So you're sending me 6. So getting from 6 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is even
Impossible.
more difficult.
Yeah.
And these mathematical algorithms, they use formulas, rotations, they use fixed characters, etc., in their calculations. And even with quantum computing that we're talking about, it's very unlikely, even with brute force attacks, so what just server shoots with potential information. It's hardly possible. I would say it's impossible to reverse engineer your key. So there is a concept where I can communicate with you with a secret key without even knowing who you are. And this is, by the way, how passwords work. So if your password is hello, it's not that the recipient of the password knows that it's hello. Because if you tell a website that your password is hello, they would know that you probably used hello on other platforms as well.
Yeah.
So what happens is that the hello is translated into this hash or in a hash, and then only the hash is saved.
Okay, makes sense.
So, and this is a way of me knowing that it's you without knowing how you registered with me.
Yeah.
And we use the same technology in order to anonymize you, basically. So we have information about it's definitely you. And also, and because we know you as a hash, okay? Let's say the hash is 15. Let's stay with this example. And the insurance company also knows that your email address with this hash is 15. And they communicate to us and say, hey, I want to see the score of number 15. And then we'll go back to you and ask you, hey, this insurance, ABC, wants to see your score. Are you willing to share with them? And if you say yes, we'll get back to them and say, well, Yasmin has a great score. She has a score of 950.
Wow. Again, so it's about permissions and not data ownership. And I think it's so important to share this because I feel like there's this misconception about data in telematics, which is like people think usually, oh, Big Brother is watching over me or something when you share your data about your location and so forth. So thank you so much for sharing these insights and making it clear. I do have one last question. So how do you make the telematics solution, well, you explained how it's obviously privacy conscious, but how can you also make it user-friendly while still having this aspect of privacy consciousness?
Well, it's not only possible that I give you a score or that I use these kind of algorithms to provide you a score, but I can provide all other services to you and for you, even without knowing who you are. I can still measure that you had an accident and forward this information to a security control room without knowing who you are. I just tell the insurance company and they will then match the hash with your name and etc. so they can send you first responders. And it also becomes possible to send you, let's say, marketing communication.
Yeah.
It's also possible to send you offers when you're at the airport because we simply can tell a third party, which is the insurance company, user 15 is at an airport. And the insurance company can then decide, well, I want you to send user 15 this and this message.
Cool.
So in reality, there is, we can say, a Chinese wall between your demographic information, between your personal data, like your name, phone number, email address, home address, etc., and your telematics information, like your location and your driving behavior, which is not interchangeable. So nor will we know your personal data, nor will the insurance company know where you are or how did we compute the score.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing this with me. Is there anything else you'd like to share?
No, what I want to emphasize is that insurance companies should or could, let's be more polite. We see this in communications with insurance companies. If there is no more argument, somebody comes up with privacy. So this is like this argument that you put on the table.
Kind of just thrown around.
Yeah, it's just thrown around. Privacy really has what we were talking about before, really these two aspects. One is the legal aspect.
Yeah.
Don't discuss with us whether what we do or not is legally okay or not.
It's clear.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Think about what is the value that you're providing to your user that they're willing to compromise their privacy.
Yeah.
Even if they don't. Because users don't trust you, okay? Because media has taken up whole the privacy thing, and if there is nothing happening, then they talk about the privacy thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it has become such an emotional topic in specific countries. So not everywhere. So there are a lot of countries, specifically in the CEE region, where people are super open, and they're very open with sharing the data because they're let's say open to receive value for sharing. Mm-hmm. And there are other regions. Don't want to name any countries, but some German-speaking countries where people are very, let's say, restrictive with their privacy and very, let's say, cautious. But the most important thing is that you let your user know that, first of all, obviously you're taking care of privacy, but there's real value behind the service that you're providing. So privacy is not an issue anymore.
It's all beneficial at the end of the day. The value
beneficial.
Is clear.
It's like you're sharing so much information when you're watching TikTok reels. You're sharing so much information when you're looking at Instagram posts.
Or you enter a website and you just accept all cookies.
Yeah, you're sharing your information
yeah.
and you're willing to do because you're perceiving a benefit. And this should be, let's say, the primary communication for insurance company, not bothering people with, let's say, the seventh privacy statement. That I do understand that insurance is a highly regulated industry. But in reality, what matters is be of value, be useful.
Yep.
Build a product or provide a service that people appreciate, and then they will give you the data because they will trust you.
I definitely agree with you. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. I mean, I learned so much about this whole privacy versus convenience debate, and I do believe that it's actually not a contradiction, definitely not in telematics, because as we just spoke about, the added value of actually sharing your data, and we make sure that it's kept safe. Right, Harald?
It is. Thank you very much, Yasmin.
Thank you. See you next time.